Welcome to another episode of Junior Achievement of South Florida's Recipe for Success. Just as there are no two recipes that contain the exact same ingredients or measurements, there are no two success stories exactly the same. Recipe for Success features entrepreneurs, visionary leaders, and innovators of all ages who will share the ingredients that make them successful. Here's your host, Lori Salarulo, President and CEO of Junior Achievement of South Florida.
I'd like to welcome our guest, Steve Nudelberg. Steve is an author, expert sales trainer, consultant, keynote speaker, serial salesman, and entrepreneur. He created On the Ball, a company that invests time and talent in emerging businesses and corporate teams to help them grow. Steve has a long history of sales success, mentoring, and leadership. Steve, welcome to Recipe for Success.
I am so excited to be here.
I'm so glad
this
you're
is
here.
cool. Love it. Love the setting. Love everything about it.
Well, and do you love the name?
You know what? I do.
So we have to tell our audience.
Please.
I have to give credit where credit is due. So when I had coffee with Steve not that long ago, I was telling him all about this great show that we were doing and really excited about it. We were going to film it here in the kitchen. And I said, but we're going to put these black curtains up and because the acoustics in there are really great. And I said, but I'm really struggling with a name. And Steve said, well, why are you hiding the kitchen?
The kitchen's great.
And so I said, well, it's not a cooking show. And he said, well, what if it was called Recipe for Success?
How about that?
And so that's how we came to be Recipe for Success. So thank you.
My pleasure. You know, it's interesting because, when I grew up, the word entrepreneur was not a word that people used. Now it's a sexy word, but ultimately what it means is that you're willing to roll up your sleeves and work hard and get in the kitchen and do the hard work. And the recipe side of it is no matter what you do, you need to do it. And so everybody has a great story. Everybody, the people I get to hang out with, I get to hear what they've done, the accomplishments they've had, but also the failures that they've overcome. And so there's so many, as you said, so many ingredients to what makes somebody successful that I thought it was really appropriate, and I'm glad to be part of it, as I am JA. This is very near and dear to me, this building, and you as, of course, so it's great.
Well, you had to be one of our first guests, but so when I read your introduction, obviously you've gone through all different phases of your life. You have morphed from one thing to the next, right? You have reinvented yourself several times, and so while we're going to talk a little bit about your story, and you're going to, I'm sure, incorporate some of that into it. While you may have changed directions, you may have changed industries, you may have changed your focus of your business, but the ingredients, right, of what made you successful, I would bet, are pretty consistent across the board.
Oh, but without a doubt. For sure, I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. My grandfather and my dad were both entrepreneurs, so I watched them work longer hours. I watched them put in the extra time that it takes, but they instilled in me one of the most basic parts of being successful in life, and that's work ethic. I basically have outworked everybody around me, so I gauge what needs to be done and I do more. And what you come to find out is that sometimes talent, or most of the time talent, is not enough. It's talent plus work ethic. I would always hire, and still do hire, attitude over skill. So, there's a lot of talented people who just never get it done. I like passion. I like people who work hard. I surround myself having all of the businesses that I'm involved in. So you cannot teach work ethic. And so successful people always will tell you that they wake up early, they get the job done, they stay late, and it's not because they have to, it's because they feel gifted that they get the chance to do it. And so, yeah, it's really cool.
They want to.
They want to, man. I want to every day.
So I, just relating this to cooking, when I had a little more free time on my hands and was a stay-at-home mom, which absolutely was the hardest job
I know you're a good cook. I know that, right?
Yeah, but you think that I'm a good cook because I cook Italian. But
Correct.
what a lot of people don't know about me is that I really, for a long time, had this passion for making cheesecakes.
Well, I did not know that.
I had hundreds of cheesecake recipes.
Wow.
And so the main ingredient in every single one of those recipes was cream cheese, right? Cheesecake.
Okay. Right.
So you just talked about hard work and work ethic, right? And going above and beyond and getting it done. Is that what you would say for you was the main ingredient of your success?
I wouldn't. I think it's a part of who I am. I was willing to do the work. I was willing to deal with failure because I'm one of those guys early on who learned that failure was my way of getting the information I needed to get better. So it's certainly very key, but I think the number one ingredient that has made me successful is that I am insatiably curious. For me, I wanted to know everything I could about everybody. I have one question that have asked every CEO that I've ever encountered, every successful athlete that I've ever worked with, every successful coach. What's your story? What did you do? What obstacles did you overcome? Where did you come from? You know, I talk about it in my podcast a lot. I have, entrepreneurs. I've had you as my guest on my podcast, and it's great because I just want to hear your story. I want you to share that because people align with the story. I did. I go, wow, that was really unbelievable that you overcame those odds. And the more you hear about successful people overcoming those odds or coming from a place where you never thought they would be now, I want to learn that. And still to this day, I'm curious not to sell somebody. I'm curious not to, with an agenda. I'm curious because it legitimately becomes a part of me. And first of all, listening is a great skill, so it's taught me how to listen, and there's just so many great lessons, so many great people, that the more you listen, the more you learn, and the more you produce quality output because of what I've taken in.
Interesting. Curiosity, I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah.
You know what they say, though, about curiosity?
It
right?
kills the cats. I wouldn't want to say
No, I
that to
had to go
Michelle.
there.
All right. So my wife has a cat. She would not be happy about that.
Yeah, I'm just sorry, but I had to go there. It was just natural reaction. But so, the other thing is too, is, as we cook, there's things that add flavor, right? So we have curiosity, you have hard work that you've talked about so far. There's the herbs and the spices and all those different things. What are some of those added ingredients, right, over the years, consistently, that you have added to your recipe?
So I think, first of all, I love the concept of this show, and I really love sharing. And in a lot of my presentations and speeches that I do around the country, I share some of these things because I tell people it's a scorecard for themselves. They don't have to line up exactly, but they can say, hey, I'm not doing that well. And so of the rest of the ingredients, the fun stuff, the flavor stuff is I am psychotically motivated. And I use the word psychotic because who would get up every day knowing that most of what I try and do, I'm going to fail? The greatest baseball players hit 3 out of every 10 times, so they fail more often than they're successful, yet if you do that, you're in the Hall of Fame. For me, same thing in sales. Most of what I do is not successful. And my friends look at me and they go, Nudelberg, you are psychotic. And I go, yes, that's exactly what's made me successful, is that I'm driven to do the work, not by the outcome. And I think that's where a lot of people get caught up in they're focused on the outcome of things and not on the body of work. And being psychotically motivated has nothing to do with the outcome. It has everything to do with drilling down and doing the blocking and tackling that it takes to be successful no matter what you do. If you're a great chef, you gotta fine tune all the little things. You gotta be motivated to do that because you're gonna run into times that you're gonna go, wow, again it went wrong, boom.
So basically you're saying that if you put in the hard work and you tackle and you block and you do all those things, right, the results will come, but don't focus on the results.
So, I'm a big sports guy. I use a lot of sports analogies. and I say this to the teams that I work with and the people that I get to coach, teams that watch the scoreboard lose all the time. Don't watch the scoreboard. Figure out what the body of work needs to be and do it every day. Do it consistently. And people who know me know I'm a process guy from the minute I wake up, which is for most people ridiculously early, to the minute I put my head on everything is programmed, and that's what I do every day, regardless of the goods and bads that are happening in my life. And I've been very fortunate that there's many, many more goods, and so that's psychotic motivation.
We were just talking about how not focusing on the scoreboard or the results, or in kitchen terms, right? Not focusing on what that dish is going to look like, right? It's more about making sure that everything is prepared properly, right? That our meats are properly
preparation,
cured and prepped
preparation,
and all of that, right? So
absolutely.
For you, part of your recipe, right? A big ingredient is all about preparation and planning and putting in the work. And then that'll get us the results.
Without a doubt. And what you find, which is true in cooking, it's the actual combination of the things that you do, not one particular thing. And so, putting together a recipe is not about, oh, well, I nailed it on this herb, but everything else was bad. It's really, measuring everything that you do. And so people who are great in life measure their output. In cooking, you measure all the time. So, the parallels are really significant. And if you talk to anybody, not me, you talk to people who have had success in their life, they can tell you what their recipe was and how they measured it and what they decided to do more of and to do less of, based on who you are as a human being. So, very apropos that in the beginning you say, there's no one recipe that's the same. For me, waking up early was a recipe I learned early on that, successful people wake up early. That doesn't mean you can't wake up late and still be successful. You make it work for yourself. These are all kind of measurements of what am I doing, how am I doing it, and am I getting the results I want?
So what I also hear you saying in there is adaptability.
Oh,
right?
totally.
You may follow a recipe, but my taste might be different than the person who came up with that recipe.
That is 100%
and so
right.
I might want to add a little more salt, or I might want to add a little bit more basil. Being Italian, we love basil, right? So I might want to add a little bit more of each ingredient, or a little bit less of each ingredient. So adaptability. So as you've gone through all these different reiterations, right, of Steve, how did that play in? Flexibility, adaptability, how did you?
That's a great question. That's an awesome question.
Right? Yeah.
It's a question that, it's based on the time of my life. My goals and aspirations have changed, and the things that were important to me in my 20s and early 30s, which I thought were Shangri-La, actually turned out to not be what I wanted. And somebody shared a quote with me early on in my career, and they said, what happens if you're climbing the corporate ladder just to realize it's leaning against the wrong building? And for me, that was fairly true. I was chasing something that I thought it's what I wanted, and it really wasn't. And so reinventing myself, constantly looking for that place where I'm supposed to be. I never thought I would be a sales coach or somebody that's in the space I'm in. I never envisioned myself as somebody that speaks to large audiences. But I really feel like the 40 years I've been in sales gives me the right to share what I know. And who would have thought that what my real goal was the feedback and the impact that I can make on young people and other salespeople, nothing to do with the money. Which is, the early part of my career, everything was dollars. It was, how are we gonna make money? How are we gonna make more money? And how are we gonna make more money than making more money? And now the focus is in a completely different place, and I make more money than I've ever made before. So it's really fascinating, how life changes what you want, what you think you want. And I think, the world we live in is so much different than it's been. The outside influences, social media, who would have thought that I would have been an author? But, people wanted to know how I became successful, so I shared my process, and lo and behold, somebody asked me, hey, don't you want to leave a legacy in words for your kids and your grandkids? And I was like, Talk about a sales pitch. So I have, a body of work that I can leave behind that is from the scars and the hours of work that I put in to make my process, and I share it with people. And I have 11-year-olds that read it, and I have 80-year-olds that read it. I work with the people, the kids here, which is so gratifying. But it's all my process. This is what I went through, and what you come to find out. And I think the most positive thing about the internet is that all of us own a library. In one click, you click any subject you want on YouTube and click, and you can become an expert on it if you want. And that's unbelievable. How empowering is that?
But you can become an expert by reading all these articles, but putting it into practice is something different, right?
Always.
So you didn't just write about something that you just went and researched and you said, oh yeah, this is what you need to do, right? No, you lived it. No?
Yeah. So, I think
experienced it,
I
right?
think my differentiation in the marketplace is that there's a lot of sales trainers, there's a lot of sales training programs, and I think all training is good. I think any intake that you can take, and I sort of look at it on a daily basis to try and spend 30 minutes every day listening and learning podcasts and, just developing myself, 3Ls, lifelong learning. But my differentiation is that I do everything that I talk about, and that has made my career path blazingly fast.
Right. That's what I mean.
Because
you can't just read it.
People go, holy cow, this guy does it. And in the transparent world that we live in, you can follow me and see it ain't, this is the real deal, what I'm doing and how I share it and how totally transparent. And I don't tell people that it's a rose garden every day. I get kicked in the teeth just like everybody else, but I built the toolbox to deal with it. And so I don't worry about it. I just know it's coming, and I know it'll cycle back again. And so I think it's all part of this incredible new universe. My conversations are about selling in the new millennium, and it's different. Being a human being is different now. We're information overload, and what you do with it and how you activate it in your lives, and fear of missing out or joy of missing out. It's somehow in the middle. It's great.
Absolutely. So yeah, walking the walk. Right?
Totally.
Not just talking the talk, but actually doing the work. So we're going to take a break, but you mentioned your book.
Yeah.
And so I happen to have a copy here. Maybe you'll autograph it for me.
I certainly shall. It'll be my pleasure.
When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about Steve's process of writing the book and maybe some of the ingredients that he included for us all to learn from.
And we're cooking.
Who's ready for the ultimate night out? I'm Chaz from Dex Imaging.
And I'm Sam Abraham from Breakthrough Beverage.
We're here at the elegant Mastro's Ocean Club in Fort Lauderdale, site of the 2019 Ultimate Night Out, one of the most anticipated junior achievement of South Florida's signature events of the fall.
We invite you to join us on Tuesday, November 12th from 6 to 10 p.m. for an exclusive gathering of fine wine and spirits, amazing cuisine, casino gaming, live and silent auctions, and a cigar lounge.
Junior Achievement is also honoring two deserving 2019 Ultimate Men of the Year. Matthew Caldwell, President and CEO of the Florida Panthers, and Andrew Koenig, President of City Furniture. Both of them, by the way, are Dex clients, just saying.
Don't hesitate to buy your tickets. They sell out quickly and there's only 200 available.
It's going to be a tremendous Ultimate Night presented by our team at Dex Imaging, the fastest growing entrepreneurial company in all of America.
And featuring some of the finest wines and spirits that Breakthrough Beverage has to offer.
So don't wait, go buy your tickets now at jasouthflorida.org/ultimate night out. We'll see you there.
Hi, welcome back to Recipe for Success. We're here with Steve Nudelberg, and we were just about to start talking a little bit about Steve's book, Confessions of a Serial Salesman. Steve, you talked a few times, and I'm sure that this is covered in your book, about failures and scars and falling down, right? How do you deal with that? How have you dealt with it? What was the ingredient to helping you move on from that?
So it's not a short answer. It's not a one-word thing. But understanding that from failure come the greatest lessons is pretty significant, because nobody really teaches you that. But when I talk to people about, hey, do you ride a bike? They go, yeah. I go, think about when you learned how to ride a bike. You didn't just hop on the bike and do it. How many times did you fall? How many times did you scream and yell and skin your knees? How many times did you tell your parents, I'm never riding that thing? And yet you got on one more time, you did it, and you felt better, and you went on until you risked more, and then you rode without the handlebars. Did wheelies. You know, well, it's the same thing in life. It's the same thing in sales, that you're gonna run into these obstacles, and understanding that it's a psychology more than anything else. So, you know, the first 6 rules in my book, the book is 27 rules for leaders and influencers. So it's not really for salespeople, although there are some sales notes in there. And clearly, I think everybody is selling something. In this economy, we're all selling ourselves. Our own personal brand matters more than the logos on the door. You do great work here at JA, but a lot of it is because of your brand, who you are, what you represent, and then who you chose to do it for. So they're making a decision on you first and then JA. Anyway, so the first couple of rules in the book are all about how you treat yourself. And I think one of the things is this negative talk that people have to deal with. As human beings, we are programmed to talk worse to ourselves than we would ever allow anybody else to talk to us. And so if you were to tape that track, you'd be horrified. I'm never gonna let anybody talk to me that way, but yet you do. You beat yourself up, you have guilt and fear and doubt. And so there are ways to overcome that by how you take care of your body. Waking up early is one of them. Drink something green every day, which I do. That's an acquired taste. Listening to great music, reading great books, like the Bible, great book. No matter what religion you are, there's a great book. It's all been written already. So if you get up every morning, read and write, and do yoga or meditation or run or listen to great, whatever it is for you. Those are the things that make you mentally stable to deal with anything. Yet most people, especially salespeople, I laugh. Oh, it's Taco Tuesday. Okay, they're more into the meal than the meal winds up on their shirt. It's like, and that's a generalization, but the reality is where you focus your mind, and I'm a big fan of the laws of attraction, thoughts become things, and what you think. If you think there's going to be traffic, there'll be traffic. And, so programming your mind is training. Great athletes train all the time. Great people train their mind and their body to give them their best. And I've been fortunate the early part of my career. I dealt with coaches and great athletes, and our company was very involved in sports. It still is. I just had lunch with my friend Dave Wanstadt and his wife Jan, and we reminisced about all the great stuff. But people who are in that space are programmed to take care of themselves, yet the general population does not have mind training. There is no mind training unless you push yourself to do it. So
that's why they all have anxiety.
That's exactly right. So one of the things that's great for kids to learn is that you're gonna face fear and doubt. That's a normal emotion. How do I deal with that? How do I overcome that? How do I work through it? And then the rest of your life is fantastic.
And you're saying, I think you're saying, I want to make sure I recap it, that the way you overcome that is by how you take care of yourself.
That is exactly right.
How you talk to yourself, right? How you respect yourself.
For me, I get up at 3:30 every day, and the first hour is for me. I am putting on the armor that I need to know to deal with the negative. Something's going to go wrong. I know that. Someone's going to say no that I expected to say yes. That's going to happen. Okay. Well, expectations are dangerous because with expectations come disappointments. So I've trained myself to put all of this good thought, and there's so much out there. I put out my own content, but there's so much great Les Brown, Tony Robbins, click of a button, and somebody has a podcast that's positive, that's putting stuff in your mind that allows you to focus on the good rather than the bad. And in most of the coaching I do, people are too focused on one bad thing in their life and they forget about the other great things that they have. And gratitude is by far number one on that list.
I was going to ask.
So
what's number one?
Gratitude is, getting up every single day, opening your eyes and being grateful that you opened your eyes. I travel the country, waking up in West Palm Beach. There's a lot of gratitude for that. Living here in South Florida, we're very grateful. There are not a lot of cities that, have the weather and the economy and everything that we have going on here. So grateful for my kids, grateful for everything around me. There's a Denzel Washington video that just says, say thank you. Get up and say thank you for everything. Thank you for the trees. Thank you for the sky. Thank you for grace. Thank you for everything that makes us who we are. And I just recently spoke to a group of hospice workers. There was 300 hospice workers, and my whole presentation to them was, thank you. Thank you for what you do. You are the last person, the last face that some people see. And it's one of the first times in my career that somebody's given me a standing ovation, and I almost cried on stage. I was so blessed to be able to do what I do for people like that. And so it's just constant gratitude. It's just every single day, I'm fortunate, I'm not visiting anybody sick in the hospital, all the things. And if you write them down, if you wake up in the morning and write down 3 things that that you are grateful for, and just focus on those, the rest of your life takes care of itself.
I'm with you. I totally agree. So speaking of gratitude, so I want to say thank you. Because when I met you a few years ago, you had gotten involved in a couple of little things here or there in the community, but since I've known you, you have really jumped in and started to really give back and give of yourself especially to young people. And you've chosen JA to be one of those organizations, and so I'm really, really grateful for that. Tell me why. How did you pick JA, or how do you pick any organization that you want to be involved in? And that is, and I have to assume now that you've been doing some of this, that this is one of the ingredients that helps you, right, leave a legacy, as you talked about.
Rule 27 in the book is called give to get, and it's not give to get so that I'm keeping score, but as a good human being, it became obvious to me that I could make an impact. Where did I want to make that impact? So there's 2 questions going on, and I was just in a room full of 50 people here that I was training, and I asked who's actively involved in a charity, and unfortunately, 80% of them are not. People don't understand that when you give, the universe gives you back in ways you could never imagine. And I was one of those guys that just didn't get it. I sort of did it because I thought it was the right thing to do. I didn't do it from the heart. Now I do it from the heart. And the kids that I've impacted in this building through the years that I've done it, who still contact me, who call me and say, you changed my life. You told me that day I flew all night on a red eye to get back and do the Saturday morning thing at Nova. When those parents told me, hugged me and said, thank you for that message, because I told people, don't chase the money, chase what you love. Just do what you love and the money will follow. Nobody told me that. Everybody told me, chase the money. Right. Go out and make a lot of money and you'll be happy. And unfortunately, most of the people I know make a lot of money are miserable. Doesn't buy happiness, doesn't buy any of the things you really, that the important things that you can't buy. So by living this life of gratitude and giving back, the rewards I've gotten, and this is very, very near and dear to me, because these people are going to impact the world in a way, like judging the new businesses that I do at the Shark Tank events. I love being around those kids because at 16, 17, however old those kids are, they are coming up with ideas and working to manifest those ideas. That's the future. That's what we're leaving behind. I want to have a role in that. I'm thrilled that I do.
I love that.
So, and now I got my son involved too.
I love it. We got the whole Nudelberg family.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of Nudelberg.
I want to recap a little bit.
Okay.
And thanks for sharing some of this.
My pleasure.
If you haven't read it, it's a must read for sure. And Steve talks about a lot of the things that we talked about today. But I want to kind of just recap your recipe for success.
Woo, look at that, in writing.
What we talked about today, it's in writing. So you talked about hard work, ethics, do the work, right? Do more. Curiosity, but insatiable curiosity. Always ask, want to learn. Keep learning, keep growing. Motivation, but psychotic motivation. I don't know, I might be bordering on that. Planning, discipline, right? Really important. Lifelong learning, continuing to grow. Listening, right? That other
That's a pretty
element.
good body of work right there.
Isn't that pretty good? I think this is your next book.
How about that?
Taking care of you, especially your mind, training, putting in the work, right, and getting ready, preparing, gratitude, really important. That was a big one for you. I heard a lot of passion in that one.
Live and breathe it.
And then give to get, which I love, and I think that is so true. I think that when we do things, we get back when we do it for the right reasons,
Without a
right?
doubt.
Especially when nobody's watching. This is an amazing recipe.
Thank you.
This, I can't wait to continue to see how you build on it and what more is going to come, right? What's going to come in the next few years, because you're on fire. I mean, it's amazing to watch you. You're motivating. You lift everyone up when you speak, and you leave them in such a positive place that they want to be all these things and do all these things. And so, congratulations,
Thank
my
you.
friend.
Very blessed.
Thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for watching, and we really appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you at the next episode of Recipe for Success here at J.A. Huizenga Kitchen. Take care.